Alright, this will be the debuffer guide for the Leo Cup. The way I explain this video will be a bit different compared to the Ace video because the way you prep for a debuffer is a lot different compared to how you prep a Ace Uma. So first off, let's talk about the debuffer. Debuffer stonks are going up in this Leo Cup because being a medium track, some debuffer skills such as Mystifying Murmur, Tether / Dominator can be activated here, so which makes debuffer a lot better. The biggest winner for Debuffer is going to be Nice Nature specifically, because Nice Nature has innately, if you unlock her potential level, gets Mystifying Murmur and Late Surge and All Seeing Eye, which is 2 gold debuff skills that you can have innately on her, which is really nice. And then you stack as many debuff skills from your support card hints as possible, and that will make her a complete menace in the Leo Cup. Some other debuffer that you can also run is Grass Wonder and Symbolic Rudolph. They both also have Dominator innately in their kit as long as you upgrade their potential level high enough. And you can also just put a bunch of other debuff skills along with the Dominator and make them a debuffer. Or you can also run them as a hybrid, just running Dominator and then building them as a Ace Uma afterward. Should be pretty decent there. Air Groove gets an honorable mention even though she doesn't have any gold debuff skills. She innately does have End Closer, a Hesitant End Closer, and Flustered End Closer, I believe. So because End Closer has a little bit of advantage in the CM because, or just in general, because they most of the time they will dodge Nice Nature, Mystifying Murmur, and All Seeing Eye because they are behind Nice Nature. So most of the time they get to dodge the gold debuff skill. So Air Groove gets to innately have 2 end closer debuff, allowed her to have easier access of screwing over the end closer in that regard. Alright, let's talk about parents. First of all, I don't recommend borrowing a parent for debuffer run. I think it's not really necessary and you should just use your borrow on your Ace Uma, which should take longer and take more of your investment and commitment into perfecting compared to your debuffer. If you do want to borrow a debuffer parent, I find that people generally put it on Grass Wonder, so you can go ahead and click on Grass Wonder in one of these websites that search for players and some of these end closer skill that you want. And then as you can see, you'll pop up with some of them where they have a lot of debuff skill hint, but these are pretty small chances of you hitting them for inspiration anyway, and they sometimes you'll also just naturally hit them from your support card anyway, so I don't find them that useful. I'd rather just use the borrow on my Ace Uma, but if you want to go that route, that is something you can also go for. But let's say you don't want to borrow a parent, or you do decide to borrow a parent, what are the specific things you should look out for? The main thing that you should look out for is speed stat, because what you'll see from my deck example in a little bit, you will not be running, ideally you do not want to run any speed card because none of the speed card really gives you any good debuff skills from their hints. So um, you'll want to run as many speed spark as possible to bolster your speed stat. So because if you are too slow, then your career run it will just be over really fast, so and you don't want that. And other than that, the only way you can get speed is from just clicking speed training, which will be very low base because you don't have any speed card, and then also from event choices in your career that can give you like 10 speed depending on what choices you make for that career. Some of these debuffer skills are very targeted to a specific position, a specific running style. And personally, I would prioritize frontrunner debuff skills and then Pace Chaser / End Closer and then Laser Surger as the last one. My reasoning for this is that frontrunner, obviously their angling and scheming groundwork strategy makes frontrunner probably the strongest strategy currently because they do involve a lot higher investment for their strategy, but they are the strongest. And also, Summer Marzensky is coming out before the Leo Cup, and I guarantee you a lot of people will be running Summer Marzensky. This priority list can also depending on what strategy you're going for and how you read the meta for the Leo Cup. So for example, I predict obviously Summer Marzensky will be out, so a lot of people I predict will run Summer Marzensky, and also I'll be running Summer Marzensky myself. So in that sense, I will want to screw over front runner as much as possible. Screw over front runner as much as possible, then my Summer Marzensky has a higher chance of being in the first position, so then she can activate angling and scheming and then win through that way. Pace Chaser also going to be probably a very strong strategy because they have more access to those gold recovery skills. And then End Closer, as I mentioned earlier, gets the dodge, nice nature, double gold debuff skill, so they are also going to be pretty strong. And then Laser Surger as an ace, probably going to be the weakest one because they don't really have They also need a lot higher stamina base for this CM, so they can't invest too much into power, and then they probably get cooked by Nice Nature double debuff because of it, which also makes them a lot less viable in that regard. So let's talk about some of these skills. Hesitant, any of these hesitant skill will be very, very nice. Specifically, I'll target like front runner, and then you can see some of these cards it can give you. I'll talk more about specific cards in a little bit, but you can look through some of these lists to see what cards give you some of these skills. Tether is also, again, a really good one for this CM, because it can only activate in medium track, and the Leo Cup is a medium track, so it works really nicely through that. Some of these other ones you can go for such as, not this one, is this section over here: Subdue, Frontrunner, Page Chaser, whatever, Fluster, Frontrunner, Page Chaser, and all the other styles. So these are also obviously going to be very good. And then obviously the Mystifying Mirror and the All-Seeing, where is it? All-Seeing Eye. Am I missing? All-Seeing Eye, there it is. Okay, so these two innately comes with Nice Nature. As long as you max out her potential level, you'll get both of these innately in her kits, and these are going to be the most important one for you to focus on unlocking first, because they're going to be the most powerful one for this CM. You can also go for some of these Frenzy skills. I don't recommend it. I only get these if they're like last resort, you got nothing else to buy. They're not as good as the other one as I mentioned earlier. Your support card deck will look something like this. First of all, Aoi Friendship card. This one is a very important card. I recommend if you have it, please use it, because this card, being a friendship card, does a lot of the friendship stuff. Allows you to date, have failure, lower your failure rate if she's on a certain training facility, lower your energy cost. But the most important thing is that her date grants you a lot of skill point, and because you want to buy a lot of debuff skills, a lot more extra skill point is very nice, because that means it allows you to run less races, so you have more turns to invest in your stat to get as far as possible in the career as possible, and also just invest in more wit so you have a higher chance of activating your debuff in the CM. So this one has 39 skill point from the first day. Second day you can choose between energy or more skill point. I generally choose this one because 58 skill point is pretty high. 39 skill point third day, fourth day 58 skill point, and then the fifth day can grant you 19 skill point or 58 skill point depending on if you get lucky or not. But another important thing is that this fifth date can also grant you a debuff skill, specifically Subdue Frontrunner, which is a pretty decent one if I do say so myself. Marvelous Sunday can grant you Hesitant Page Chaser and Hesitant Frontrunner as a skill, and her hint pool is generally pretty small compared to most cards, so it's also really nice. And it's also a wit card, so you generally want a decent amount of wit card to hit as high wit as possible in your career. So then when you go to the CM, you have a higher chance of hitting your debuff skills. Symbolic Rudolph is a very, very nice one, because even though she is a rare card only, she grants you a lot of debuff skill in her hint pool. Most half of her hint pool is legit just debuff. Tether is really good, and all these subdue ones are pretty good, obviously. So this card is generally a really desired card to use. Agnes Tachyon, also wit card, so it's pretty good already. Can grant you tether. Her hint pool is very low, so you have a 20% chance of hitting tether, which is a very high chance compared to a lot of these other support cards. And also from her last chain event, can guarantee you subdue frontrunner once again, so it's really, really nice in that regard. Her group is also a really nice card, even though despite her being a gut card, which sounds kind of bad because you're already struggling in stats in your career run for your debuffer. She does have Hesitant Encloser and Flustered Encloser, and as I mentioned earlier, Encloser most of the time will dodge your double debuff from your Nice Nature, because most of the time they'll be behind her. So having these debuff skills for the Encloser specifically will be something you can consider and look to work towards. And then Right Shower, Stamina card, obviously the best card in terms of getting I'm drawing a blank. Page Chaser debuff skills. Even though her pool is quite big, you can get some of these really nice Page Chaser debuffs. Subdue Page Chaser, Fluster Page Chaser, and then Frenzy Page Chaser is like, it's like okay, whatever. It's like you should get this last if you have nothing else better, but generally have two really nice Page Chaser debuff skill, which will be very relevant in this CM. You can also change some of these cards around depending on what skills you're looking for, but another one I can really want to point out is, let's say you don't want Air Groove, you think the hint pool is too big, you don't want a gut card, you can go for Satono Diamond. Satono Diamond, being a stamina card, makes it so that you have better access to higher stamina stats in your career run, so that you can survive longer to get more skill point, more stats. Satono Diamond, even though her skill support hint pool is pretty big. She can grant you Tether, can grant you Fluster Frontrunner as a hint, and also from a random RNG event, you can also get Hesitant Frontrunner as well. So it's a really nice one. And I know some of you guys are thinking like, oh, I don't have Satono Diamond SSR. Well, you can also just use her R version, which is less good, but you can still get the same hint from it. And if you don't have it, then well, you can't use it anyway because you don't have it. So just use something else when it comes to that. Another thing I want to point out is that this Aoi Friendship card, even though a lot of your debuffer run will probably end at the end of your senior year at the Arimakinen, because that one is really difficult to get first place with this sort of setup, if you can, you want to clear the Arimakinen in the senior year and enter the URA tournament. Even if you lose at the qualifier the first round, it's fine, because as soon as you enter the URA tournament, if you have this Aoi card and you have max bond with her, you can guarantee Hesitant Encloser as a hint after the career as well, so which is really nice. If you can do that, ideally you want to work towards it, but if you can't, it's not the end of the world, but just something I want to point out. And to wrap this video up, I just want to say, do not stress on perfecting a debuffer. This is a debuffer that I have, and then I know some people was going to point out instead like, oh my god, you don't have Subdue Pace Chaser, you do not have Flustered Encloser, you do not have Tether, your wit is too low, you want 800 plus wit. It's really not that big of a deal. Debuffer is supposed to be very relaxing. You spend a few run, get all the good, you get a decent amount of debuff skill hint, and then you're done for that CM. That's one Uma done for that CM. It should not be very stressful. If you want to stress over something, stress over your Ace Uma. Those are more important in perfecting, because those will generally be the bigger reason of whether you win your CM lobby or not. Please do not stress over making the perfect debuffer. Just make a pretty good one and then move on with your day. Alright, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any question, comments, I explained something poorly, I said something wrong, please let me know in the comment section down below. I would greatly appreciate it. Best of luck with your Leo Cup prep. Thank you guys. Have a good one. Take care.